Okay, we're back in Texas, still in Texas. And today I'm going to be talking about the three subjects that most likely during school you learned, but the three subjects that I believe most prime you for financial success. And that's going to be math, geography, and English. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down why if you just have these three skill sets, you can do pretty much anything that you want. So let's start off with math, right? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Why is this so important, right? And I remember when I was younger, or I guess my parents tell me this, but when I was younger, I thought that if I just knew math and geography, I would be set. I wanted to play baseball as a career, and I wanted to know math so I could count my money, right? And I wanted to know geography because I wanted to know all of the places that I would actually travel to. And up until now, knowing math and geography has proven me well. In sales calls, I can do math relatively quickly and come up with a clear consensus backed up on logic, right? Not emotion, but I can come up with a clear consensus based on logic, based on math, right? For why someone should do a particular, outcome, right? Why someone should go a particular route. And that's based up of, math and logic. Now, for baseball, right, I wanted to be able to count my money, right? And that was where math came in. And then on the other hand, if I knew geography, then I would know exactly the places that I need to travel, where I need to be, right? And the impact of, particular conflicts around the world, right? And how that could potentially impact myself. Now, having traveled to, I believe, about 25 countries now, right? At a pretty young age, and being able to sell quite a bit online, I feel that these two subjects have proven me well. Right? But how can this actually apply to your own life? How can you start applying math and geography to your life? Well, think about it, right? Let's say you want to make more money. Let's say you want to make your first $100,000 a year, right? Or maybe you are making $100,000, but you want to make your first $200,000 a year, right? Well, with simple terms, you can break this down, right? Let's say you work right now 40 hours a week, right? You're working 50 weeks out of the year, right? So that's about 2,000 hours. And what is 100,000 divided by 2,000? Well, it's 50, right? And you see how fast I did the math there? But based off that, right, we know on average we're making about $50 an hour. Now, after taxes, you're probably left with about, 75%, maybe a little bit less, 70% of the money that you actually received. So instead of making $50 an hour after taxes, you're essentially making $35 an hour, right? So if you want to make more money, if you want to make more than $100,000 a year, well, you need to break it down on a per hour basis, right? If essentially you're making $35 an hour after taxes, how, right, can you multiply this? How can you add additional income to that dollar per hour? Or, right, how can we subtract other things, right? How can we use subtraction here to subtract other things that we're doing in our life that do not, right, add on to our goal of making more income? So you can quickly see that if you break it down to the actual inputs, to the actual hours, where is all of this time going? How much am I getting paid per hour, right? Then you're going to be able to develop a clear path, right? A clear game plan to get you the results that you want. And that's why I really like something like sales, right? Right now I'm able to take 2 to 3 calls a day, make upwards of $100, $250, $500 for taking those few calls, right? And that's just based off my math, right? That's based off, hey, if I take 10 calls on average, about 3 of these people, right, maybe 4 of these people will pay me for some sort of outcome. If it takes me about 10 hours to run 10 calls, right, and I know that 3 or 4 people, right, will pay me for doing this, And let's say on average, let's say my net profit is 10%. We'll just use that. Well, if I'm selling something that's worth $5,000, $10,000, 10% on that is $500. So if I know that I'm trading essentially 10 hours of my time to make $1,500, right? Then essentially I'm making $150 an hour, right? Or close to $500 for taking 3 phone calls, right? And a lot of people may see these numbers and they may think of it to be unrealistic. But at the end of the day, it really just comes down to math, right? Simple addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. How can you add on additional things to your daily life that, improve financial success? How can you subtract things that are not currently benefiting you? How can you multiply the outcome, right? So instead of getting paid $35 an hour, you're making $100 or $150 an hour, right? How can you multiply your skills so you can get paid more for the same amount of time? And then division, right? And division helps you actually find the inputs that are needed in order to get the success that you want, right? So what is the second subject to actually get you success? We have geography, right? Let's say, for example, I make money in America, right? But then I travel to a different country, right? Maybe I travel to somewhere like Mexico, and I go down to Mexico, right? And I think right now it's like $1 is about 20 pesos, right? So I know my dollar most likely goes further in Mexico. So let's say I earn in USD, but then I'm actually able to shift my geography to a different country where I understand that my dollar goes further here, then essentially I'm making more money, right? Not changing anything else. I'm only changing my geography, right? So if I up level my skill set, so I'm making more US dollars per hour, but then I move to another country where my dollar goes even further, right? Then essentially I'm able to have more financial success with the same inputs, right? I'm just in a different location. Now, what is the third route here, right? What is the third subject that can actually allow us to make more of this, right? Well, that's going to be English. And in middle school, in high school, in college, right? Went to Vanderbilt for college, right? And the English classes that they have us go through and, all of the skill sets we learned there, right? I honestly wasn't that big of a fan. But looking back, right? And honestly in high school too, looking back, those English classes were some of the most impactful to my life. And why, right? Why is English class so important for success? Well, if you really understand any human communication, right? Essentially, English class, right, allows you to communicate more effectively with other humans, right? So what is necessary to communicate effectively with other people? Well, it's emotional intelligence. It's able to use the proper vocabulary to express, how you want to communicate, and also, proper English, right? If you're speaking in a more sophisticated manner, right, then people are also going to view you differently. And if they view you from a higher status, if they view you from an elevated space, what does that lead to? Most likely more respect, most likely more money, right? And essentially more success, right? Which is why we're even here. So how can you improve your English? And where does this actually fall into place, right? Well, with something like sales, how you communicate is everything. If you're a better communicator, then you make more money, right? If you're a better communicator, you sell better. If you're a better communicator, you listen better, right? And if you listen better, you get better results because you understand where that other person is coming from. It's the same thing with copywriting, right? It's the same thing with advertising. If you understand the end consumer, then you are able to pitch your products or services more effectively. You're able to relate with that prospect more effectively. You can find more pain with that prospect effectively. And it all stems back to English, right? So by the end of this video, I hope that you've been able to see that, if you just break it down math-wise, okay, this is why I'm not getting the results that I want. Here's the logical inputs, right? The data-driven decisions that I need to make in order to get the results that I want, right? If we understand geography, right, and understanding that, hey, if we just move to another place, maybe we move to Bali, right, where cost of living is a lot less than something like the United States, but we're still earning in US dollar, then essentially we're bringing home more money. And then if we understand English, right, we communicate more effectively, then that increases our skill sets for sales. It allows us to make more money with copywriting or advertising, whatever we're doing. And it allows us just to have more emotional intelligence, right, and empathy towards the people we talk to, which all in turn allow us to make more money. So I hope you got some value from this video. If you did, like, comment, share, do whatever you want. And at the end of the day, if you want to continue watching more videos like this, I put these out on this YouTube channel. I think this is a little bit more of a genuine take to my philosophies and beliefs on, life and systems and money and things like that. But I hope you got some value. My name is Kekoa MacAuley. If you want more of this, feel free to keep watching. And if not, then have a good day. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.